all of my audio and all of my intro was choppy as hell. But besides all that, good evening. What is it? Good night.
It's afternoon, night, good night, good evening.
Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday. It's actually Wednesday. It's from the Bears. We had to push this back an entire day for two reasons. One, I had to cancel flight, and two, I would love to have Moondog on here. And here, let's just throw this around a little bit. There we go. Feels a little better that way. So I'm Joker of Players Wanted. With me is Moondog from
How's everybody?
like 5 different YouTube channels, but Moondog Industries. And Ian Sonic Conley down there from New York City Airsoft. And I don't know if we're going to be joined by Wiener later on tonight. I hope we are, but we'll see if he shows up. But tonight we're going to talk about the Bad Blood 2024 event. Go over all the good, bad, ugly, and muddy. How about that? So how is everybody tonight?
Tired, but happy that we had a great weekend, and also happy to be back home and with all the travel craziness. Oh, here we go.
Hey. And it's not a party till he comes out. Wiener from New Breed Airsoft.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, fashionably late as per normal.
Yep.
So obviously Wiener's the other co-host of the show here. Let's talk about some. So was your travel okay to go home there, Moondog, or did you get screwed over like I did with flights?
Well, I got.
And don't mind me.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I have the wrong mic set up?
I can know.
Oh no, I was just turning it off. I was calling for a drink.
Oh, no worries.
From my
driver. Well, to answer your question, we had to actually the airline asked us to leave a day earlier, but it all worked out. It was fine. Instead of leaving yesterday morning, we left. Instead of leaving this morning, we left late last night. So it all worked. Yeah, just a little. I wouldn't call it jet lag since I'm 3 hours behind now. So, but I'm just tired.
Well, for me, it became apparent that there was going to be a problem with the flight back. I showed up to the airport 4 hours early. Not that, because I really didn't have anything to do. I just wanted to get there and drop off the car, get ready, make sure that everything got on the plane and all that. And when I walked into the Westchester County Airport, it was packed full of people. I was like, this might be a problem. And I sat down, I started doing stuff on the phone, and all of a sudden I heard a call for JetBlue to Palm Beach is looking for 6 volunteers to give up their seat because they are overloaded. And and they were offering $800 in future travel credits. So me being a smartass, I yelled out, "Wait for 1,000." 2 minutes later, they said, "We're now offering $1,000 future travel credits." Like 2 to 3 minutes later, I said, "Wait for 1,400." The last 2 people took like 1,200. So I knew there was a problem, and I figured it was the weather. And I was like, all right, well, we should be okay. Well, yeah. My flight was supposed to be at 8, then it was at 10, then it was at 11, then it was at 12. And I should have gone with my gut at 10 o'clock. I should have been like, I don't think we're going home. Let's see what I can get for tomorrow. And at least rented a car or something just to do something to protect myself. But yeah, they knew at 10:12 that they were not going to be having the pilots or somebody on the crew was going to be overtime or timed out. So they would not be able to fly us back. And they didn't tell us until 12:39 a.m. So all the car rental places are closed. All the hotels are on the next one. And then all the good flights for the next day were gone. So I had to go at 8 o'clock at night the next day out of LaGuardia to PBI. It was a nightmare. I didn't get home till like 2 in the morning.
Oh, well, yeah, at least got home. I guess that's a good thing.
I blame not raffling off my shirt.
Not raffling it off?
Not raffling off the shirt. Yeah, I did not. They called for it, and I snapped at them. I said, this is not my event, sir. I know Timmy doesn't like that too much.
Well, I'm glad you're back, and Ian, we missed you from, but you had to deal some family tragedy to deal with, but everybody was looking out for you, and we had a moment of silence for your dad. So
Yeah, I really appreciate
Sorry to
all
hear
that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very sorry for your loss,
yep.
sir. It's never easy losing a parent.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? I'm just sad I missed the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
you missed some pretty well. We had good weather for everything other than the afternoon of the game, because compared to the previous week with in the 98 degree, pushing 100. I wish we had the weather the day before the game.
Yeah, rain games don't bother me, but I understand they bother other people, and that's fine. I'm not going to complain, but yeah, rain games are fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, it really, we showed up and we started doing exactly what we were going to be set to do. We are like, all right, let's get everything set up. Let's get the skirmish system going and all that stuff. And then they were started talking about the weather, and I was like, well, the map's set up. I have all the boxes ready. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Evidently, the night game went really well. People really loved that. They had a good time. We had upwards of 60, 70 people do the night game.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things I think for next year, if we're going to have a night game, let's advertise it well in advance. So that way they know that there's going to be a night game and that something's going to be going on. So that way people don't go, they show up and they go, oh.
I wish I knew about the night game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll happen if we can tie down all the details. And, there was really it wasn't a last minute thing. It was just that we didn't get 100% that we could run a night game until it was about 2.5 weeks out. So that's the only thing. And of course, next year, if we can tie down those commitments to doing a night game, I would love to do that. And I would also hope that way we can get an accurate count, maybe do a pre-registration, which would also help with the folks who are running the game, because that was the other kind of thing, is that they weren't Ted Primer, who was running the game, wasn't sure how many extra supplies he needed to bring because we didn't have a pre-sign up for the night game. But we'll work on that for next year.
The other thing, too, is that if people are going to be doing a night game, they need to be well aware that if you're doing the night game typically starts around 8 o'clock at night. Why are you showing up at 7:45 to chrono your rifle and get pissed when it's like,
oh yeah,
close, guys? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Getting stuck.
Sounds like typical airsoft, though. Regular airsoft stuff. That's normal.
Yeah, this one was.
But for a night game, it's you gotta show up for chrono on time, just because it's hard to find where everybody is or where everybody's kind of located. Once the game starts, it's not easy to join in once it's going.
Yeah, and our chrono staff are volunteers that typically want to play in the night game. So if they're sitting there wanting to play, all these guys got to have their own stuff chrono too. I will say, even though a couple of people that were yelling at us, and I just thrown them, I was like, what time is it? And they go, well, chrono is supposed to be open until 8 o'clock. I was like, all right, well, it's now 7:50. It's 7:50. The line's there. By the time that these people get through, it's going to be 8 o'clock. And you're coming up now. When does the night game start? 8 o'clock. So you're chronoing now at 7:50? Come on, man. And they go, why don't you go in there and chrono? I was like, because I don't have any eye protection, and I can't read the chronos with my eye protection on anyway. So
it can't read the chrono, period.
But Friday, a lot of cool. The early crowd was there. There was definitely a different vibe this year than last year. I think it was a more relaxed vibe this year, except for the few people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I really, the people are all out there. Is like, it's really funny because I meet so many people when I do the travels and all that. People come up to you, goes, hey man, do you remember me? And I was like, I remember your face. And then of course the trash truck starts, I'm gonna get you tomorrow. I was like, okay. You're not gonna knife me. Okay, we'll see what happens.
I meant to ask you, so for those of you who don't hear Joker's AARs about the game, he is notorious for knife killing the COs, the commanders of each of the factions. So how was what was your knife score for
Okay,
Saturday?
Here we
so
go.
let's
Here we go. I
talk
gotta write this
about
down.
let's
44,988 knife kills, right?
no. Actually, this year was kind of light in knife kills because the targets of opportunity weren't there. But there was 39 knife kills and 2 radio kills. So, yeah, I know Ian's looking sideways like this.
In lieu of a knife, which he had, he just used the antenna.
whip.
I'll
All right.
the whip.
Okay.
I'll explain it when we start talking about Saturday, like, because that was like incredibly hilarious all at the same time. But there's a open topic of debate of whether or not I got Doc or not. The CO of Deus Ex. I know I hit the front of his gun with the knife as I got shot in the arm and the stomach. So as I swung down, I hit it. But he's saying I didn't. So I wish I just had. TSA stole my GoPro batteries. That was like the only bad thing about all of it. My GoPro batteries got taken out of my bag.
And this is your carry-on bag.
My check bag.
Oh,
I put them in the
okay.
check bag because I put all the stuff inside of the suitcase, and typically I don't put the batteries, my GoPro batteries, in the suitcase. Instead, I put them inside of my carry-on. But my GoPro batteries were not there, so I couldn't record any of it. But oh my god, do we want to jump right to Saturday, or is there anything else on Friday you want to go over, Moondog? Because Friday was still funny in itself.
Oh yeah, Friday's good. I don't think nothing was too memorable. I mean, we talked about having a night game, which was great, and Ted and his crew at VOA, that's his team, did an awesome job. Everybody who did the night game said that they enjoyed it. And for next year, we're hoping to do a night game, and we might even there've been requests to do a zombie night game, but we'll see how that goes. I'll leave the actual planning of the night game to Ted or whoever wants to step up and among the staff to host it. I think if we can, if everybody can post up on VOA's website just how much fun they had and how much and on his socials. If you look for Ted Colgrove on the socials, just tell him you had a great time and you'd love to have him host it. I think just a little bit of a thank you will encourage him to do it again next year.
That would be awesome if he does get the people out there to do it again, because it would. Not the GoPro batteries. I was told that the GoPro batteries are fine and they should have traveled okay. I don't understand.
Well, I'm just wondering, is TSA cracking down on lithium-ion batteries now for some reason?
They've always had a rule about that, but anything that small usually are okay. But it depends on who's working that day, right?
That's correct. I brought mine on my carry-on last time. All those, and still got everything checked, but they let them through. They didn't even look at the batteries in a little box.
Yeah, I mean but the problem is too, they didn't put an actual thing inside of my bag saying, "Hey, we have these items. Pick them up."
So he just
there wasn't like the red tape on it that says that this has been TSA opened and inspected.
No, I got the white piece of paper. I knew it was going to get inspected because I had the airsoft guns in the bag.
I had I had a multi-tool with me. I'm a firefighter. Was a firefighter. I just retired, but we went on a cruise one time, and it was a training cruise. So I was actually training with another guy. We were training the fire teams while we were on the cruise. So we got on the cruise for free. It was a Disney cruise too, on the cruise for free. But everything was labeled. All our stuff was checked through. But they actually busted open my bag and pulled out I had the whole EMT pouch thing with the tools and all that, and they took that out and gave it to me at the end of the cruise. Gave it back to me. I was like,
okay, well, you at least got it back.
Oh yeah, I got it back. That's
they
left a letter in there saying you can't bring this on board. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can more stuff on the ship. Yeah. So I went through that.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those things. It's like, so this event, the only thing I went there to do was just play and have fun. There was no streaming. There was obviously getting stuff set up with the event per normal, but there's like I guess I'm not recording, so I hope people have video.
It's like the
So
fish story. So there's no proof of the knife kills then. It was just made up.
no, I have witnesses. People
Doesn't make a difference.
witnessed me.
It's nothing on video. You know, it's like you bring home that fish, that's this big, and
Well, the
and
thing
let
is,
it go.
You mean like that one right there?
Yeah, like yeah. Fake, by the way.
That's my stepfather's. I inherited. Moondog went away.
Uh-oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's back.
You can't hear.
Sorry, I got a request off the side from Vendetta, so I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm gonna do it this way so we don't look all weird. I'll wait for him. I'll wait for him to come back.
Did you play the night game in Primer's night game? Or no.
So the thing is, when I'm doing the travel and all that stuff, my Friday nights are typically my networking nights or having fun, hanging out with people, connecting with people I haven't seen all year. So yeah.
Okay.
Kilo, it might be. I mean, it's Fort Lauderdale Airport. It's not the first time stuff's gone missing. I mean, the GoPros were on me. I must have screwed up. I know I screwed up and I put them inside of my my battle belt pouch because I was like, I'll just put them all in here so I can. Yeah, I was an idiot. I should have kept them inside my laptop bag.
But it's the only thing that was missing, right? Of all your stuff.
Yeah, the two. Yeah.
So yeah, they walked. That sucks.
Yep. Is what it is. I have more batteries on the way, so I have my chargers with the batteries, so I'll be fine. It was like big sad moment where I was like, oh, my batteries are gone. Because I was literally going like, where the hell is my shit? Now the other thing too, because of the rain, it probably saved my GoPros because mine have some damage to them, to the outside casing. So, Mr. Wiener, you definitely missed out on a good time, sir.
I know. That's why I'm here listening to so I can whimper and weep all the fun time I missed. But I actually saved some money, so it's like, okay, had to weigh it there pretty good.
Thank you, DJ. Appreciate you. Moondog's back. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
So coming back to I guess most of the people also checked in on Friday, and the check-in process went really fast and easy.
Yeah, I would say a good over 50% of the people checked in, and maybe less of the less than half of about half chronoed, but I would say about 2/3 of the people checked in on Friday.
Yeah. So on Saturday when we got up, I mean, as soon as we got up to the site, we knew there was going to be a little bit of a problem because it was already wet. It's one of those things that how you go into events and games, your mentality that you put yourself into when you go to do this stuff really determines on whether or not the rest of your day is going. I looked at it and I was like, well, boys, it's not going to be hot today. We should be good. We should be able to go. Just be careful how you run because there might be some water and stuff on the field. So that we had a new respawn way to do it this year, which was a challenge at the start. Let's just put it that way. Marxist made 8 runs before we could secure at least 8 respawns before we could secure that first flag. Like the first flag point that was inside the airfield past our initial spawn point.
I see. Okay.
8 hard pushes to finally get it, which we started to get pushed by green on one side. We had tribals in front of us fighting at the flag, and we're like, all right, search for that damn sample. I was like, where the hell's the sample? It's got to be around here somewhere. There's tribals over here. No, the sample's way back because you guys just had them defending the flag. I was like, this sucks.
So was the biggest resistance from the tribals?
For our first hour of play, it probably was more like 6 respawns. I don't know because I don't have the thing in front of me. It was quite a few that before we got up to that spot. We had a huge amount of resistance because of the numbers. Marxist and black shirts merged forces, and we were still like the lowest numbered faction with the two of us. I think it was like 84 to like 154 and 130 something, respectively, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily the numbers that caused the merger. It was because there was another family emergency with the CEO of
I was going to step up if we needed to. I had the fanny
okay.
pack on me already. It was more along the lines of we had like 30 Marxists at best.
So yeah, it was a challenge. And the usually the tribals. Well, I don't know which particular team defended that particular CCP, the flagpole at that time. So I don't know how fierce. I mean, obviously they were.
The fighting was. We were up against, I think, 3 LMGs.
Oh, okay. So that was not intentional on I think anybody's part. It's just the sort of the luck of the draw. So you have a fairly aggressive defending OPFOR and a relatively small team. So that would just the situation was. But we'll get into this later. But based on this input for sure from Saturday, we'll be changing some of the positions of those CCP flagpoles.
Oh, it was hard. It was a hard push, and the funny thing is like Marxist has a mentality of being just a brown tide, right? We just push across the field. We don't
Phrasing.
care. Nope.
I'm just remembering those porta-johns.
Oh God. But our job is just to spread out and just flow over the field like a brown tide. And it was just one of those days where it's like I go running up and I just start yelling at people because you have Cordello on one side of me and I'm on the other side. And then we just started yelling, if you don't move, I'll shoot you myself. A guy didn't believe it. And he kept taking cover. I was like, pow! And he goes, the hell? I was like, I told you, move! So we finally took that first flag, and then we saw the tribals down the thing. So we spread out. We're looking. I was like, God, it's got to be down there. It's like, all right, let's start pushing down the road towards where that one spot. I think somebody spawned there last year, way up that road beyond the
beyond the airfield.
Yeah, beyond the airfield, up that road, all the way down that road. So. Do not remind me of those porta johns. So I said, screw it, let's go. Let's start pushing down. And then all of a sudden they start. So we've done at this point, we had to have done 7 or 8 runs up to this spot. We then tried pushing down, and I'm just it's like I'm running. I was like, I'm wet. I'm like, God damn it. Let's just do this. So I finally said, screw it. So I dekitted to everything except my radio and the admin flag. That's the only 2 things I had on me. And I go, let's go. I was like, they're shooting at us. I was like, so shoot back. And what I was telling everybody is like, look, I'm walking out here in the open. I'm not taking any cover and I'm not getting hit. Right. You're only getting, and then the guy who's behind cover, he gets hit. He goes, well, it's good hit. I was like, well, that's because you're taking cover. Run. So I said, here's how you do it. Watch this freight train. I start running down that road. It's downhill. And about halfway down, I realized, oh shit, I'm not stopping. I was like, so I just scream out, I ain't got no brakes. I kept running down. There was a whole group of dead tribals, and there was like 3 up on the hill. So I turned and was like, witness me. And I went running up there with just my radio. Went up to the first guy. I was like, how you doing? Tap, tap. He goes, good shit. So then I run to the second guy, get him, and then the third one just on my back. I was like, okay, I'm in. And then the Marxists finally made their way down, or the B&T, that's what it was, the black and tan, finally made their way down. We got our first sample, and then we were just going across the thing. So we definitely, in the staff meeting that we had, I think we have a good solution to help with the movement, especially we're still running into the situation where you're running into 3 major armies at a couple of the lock points, which we saw immediately after that. We're like, all right, time for the next stamp. Where are we going? Shit. Was the best way to put it. Just like, because I took all my stuff out to the car, so the only thing I had was my knife and my radio. That was it. And my helmet. So it was like I started saying, kill the Twybles with my spirit magic helmet. Spearmint, you killed it. Wiener's losing it. So just imagine if you're sitting out there, Wiener, in the middle of the woods, all of a sudden you hear, kill the Twybles, kill the Twybles.
I'd be like, what the hell?
You got to come out with you got to come out with a spear and a horn.
Yes, that's why I said next time I just got to have a spear. And just
You had the horn, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
fair
have that. Cordillo tried handing me the horn. I was like, I can't blow that thing. I have a full mesh on my face. I was like, I won't be able to blow it anyway. I was like, and I'm not getting rid of my mesh because I got popped right here in my cheek. It sucked. That got underneath. I was like, ow. So, like for the first hour or so, it actually wasn't raining that bad, and there was a lot of stuff that was, there was a lot of good firefights. You could hear stuff going on. What did you see on your side of the field, Moondog? Because I knew you were on the complete opposite side from me.
For the most part, there was good movement. I was following the greens first, and then I went over to look for Deus Ex, which had started up way in the north, and they'd actually moved over to another respawn point fairly quickly on. That's the one where you guys dead ragged over to.
Yeah,
and that's why I knew that it was from when you're approaching it from any of the dirt roads. The flagpole is actually kind of obscured by a big tree.
Yeah, so we went to the one in the very back because as we started dead ragging over, we saw, I guess, Deus Ex and Green switch poles. So I was like, well, we're not going to start at the Pines Bridge. We're going straight to the back. And everybody's like, why is there a line of Marxists in black shirts just marching behind us? And they shot us. They literally shot us. I have my yellow flag out, so I'm holding the flag up like this. I have a whole bunch of people almost single file behind me and red rags on. And all of a sudden it's like, I was like, ow! Why?
I guess enough of the guys either weren't paying attention on whoever's shooting at you, or the players who were walking weren't.
Everybody was dead ragged. They were all, because we bunched up over at the Chrono area to get everybody with their dead rags out and everything. So everybody had their stuff out. It was just bad target acquisition.
Yeah, for sure.
Or they knew who you were and just shot you anyways.
There's probably some of that too, but I wasn't wearing a Hawaiian shirt, so.
Now, in terms of the rest of the day, it was started drizzling. It was perfectly fine. It was only like later in the afternoon when it really started to come down.
2:00.
Yeah, and the biggest issue was everybody's mics. Too many of the embeds and the tribals mics started failing. I couldn't hear I could hear they were broadcasting, but it was just too choppy, and it was.
That's because a lot of those guys had like either shoulder mics or they had the ones that went inside their ear, so it's a little push to talk. I did not. I had mine in my pocket, and I just took it out using because the Balefang one is waterproof. So you heard me crystal clear. So yeah. It was great because it was the first time that it ever happened for Marxists where we retreated, like a full-on retreat after we're pushing forward.
Yeah.
Because when we went to the backside of Pines, we put our flag up. We then pressed the tribals immediately, and I guess Green says, "Screw it, we're going for Marxists and the black shirts," and they started pushing the tribals for the other end. So we went up, we found the sample quickly, got all 3 of our stamps, and I was like, move out, back up, let's go. We got to go this way. And they go, what? I was like, the sample's over there. It ain't over there.
Yeah.
And then we just pulled off. And the first time, like a lot of the old school Marxists, like, wait, we're not dead and we're falling back. What is this?
Yeah, it's against protocol.
We don't know this movement. But it was kind of awesome because we then shifted and went away. And then the tribals just engaged the hell out of Green. And I will say this year there was a lot of better hiding of the samples. It was hard to find some of those samples, for sure.
Yeah, the one over in the Pines was pretty easy to find.
It's always easy to find, though. That's their intention.
They don't make it hard on purpose. They want to engage you. Like if you can defeat them, you've earned the stamp. That's kind of their mentality over there.
And then the one that we then walked all the way over to the backside of the north the north trailhead.
Mhm.
That's like the next part that we took, and then because we were just looking for stamps and all that, and then we ran into like one of the first real problems that we had
Which is?
when we went up to when Deuce X was in Titman Town, and then we took Skull Tower.
Oh, right.
And
Yes,
then
I was with you guys with the point. Yeah.
So yes, we did find the one near the Fort Kilo, but we came up to we took Skull Tower, and I'm still alive, and all of a sudden it's like Grackles shot us. She got me right in the knee. I was like, ow, ooh, okay, hit. And all of a sudden, somebody's yelling on that side, asking for an ambulance. So I took the flag out, walked over, and I said, "What's up?" He goes, "Did you guys just take that place?" They go, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, they're shooting." I was like, "All right, well." I was like, you can still flank around the sides. I mean, they could flank around the sides. Just because it's at Skull Tower does not mean that you can't. There's ways to go. As he's talking to me, it was irrelevant because black shirts suddenly come around for both sides and murk everybody in the area. I was like, well, that solves that problem. Have a nice day. And then that's when we moved up to where Deuce X was by that one spot that was really close to. So Ian, right where Titman Town meets the fort, where the road is,
Yeah,
there was a flag right there. So we come walking up, and
that's a hard choke point.
We can't see the flagpole, right? The only thing we see is like, hey,
it's just because the foliage that was there. As you come around the foliage, you immediately see some guys standing around. And because I was on the other side of that, I was actually, when that happened, I was on the other side over where the Deus Ex guys were, but a little bit further back. And then I heard some shots were being fired into their triage, but it's totally understandable because you guys coming out didn't see the flagpole.
Yeah, that location right there is that's a major choke point for like a lot of the field. So yeah, the spawn being shot at being right there, that makes sense.
And to be fair, the guys who were in the triage had already taken off their red rags, and once they got there, they tucked it in, so it wasn't obvious at all to you guys that they were.
I saw a group of 4 guys standing off to the side. I was like, because when we came around the trees, I was like, hold on 1 second, is that their spawn? And I said that because I saw 4 guys standing here. Next thing you know, I see everybody that's in front of me lift their guns up and start shooting out. I was like, light them up, boys, because remember, the only thing I have is a knife and a radio and a helmet. So they shot it, and all of a sudden, everything went, like, people are screaming, yelling, flags come out. We're like, all right, hold on. Sorry, we didn't know.
It was an honest mistake, so there was no fault on your side for sure, because I was there. I saw.
I don't know if I'm walking into what I don't know is a respawn, and the people I'm looking at immediately go guns up, I'm shooting back. I don't care that it's your respawn. You're engaged.
They didn't go guns up.
They did. They had the ones that were right by the flag. The reason why they got fired on from the side.
No, it wasn't. The guys who were by the flag weren't guns up. It was 2 guys further closer to you guys.
Closer to us,
yeah.
Oh, okay. You see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying it was an honest mistake. So 2 guys that were alive, we're shooting at your guys, and though you guys were shooting back and also hitting those 4 guys who were at the triage, and so it was just all an honest mistake.
Yeah, because they didn't see anybody that was around that one spot. Nobody had a dead rag on. There was a group of, like I said, 4 guys that were like closer to the shop, like about 15, 20 feet away from the flag. There was a group of people there, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 people that were standing there with their dead rags on. This group, I saw people guns up. I was like, light them up. And yeah. Let's see here. When we saw the flag right next to the fort, we're like, oh boy, yeah, we're getting action right off the rip. Like 75% of it deeped out when we had pretty constant push from Titman. Yeah, it was a strong thing. So we got everything settled, and you went around and you rearranged where that flag was to be closer to the shop, which I think is a better location for it because it puts Titman Town more in play. And we waited. We're like, okay. And then we saw a group of like 8 Deuce X go down towards the ravine. And I was like, oh, I'm so going to stab them. I'm so gonna stab them. And like another little like yelling match ensues. It's like, hey, we were told Moondog called already. We're good to go. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, you guys are like the players are like, no, we can't. I was like, and I have like the yellow flag, and I was like, hey, bud, calm down, man, calm down. And he's like, who do you think you want? I'm literally waving the flag in his face. I was like, hello, this. And then Moondog and Sin come up, and I was like, not my problem anymore. Goodbye. It was probably some of the most funniest interactions that I had, because I was like, the guy was like yelling at me that I shot him. I was like, bro, I have a knife. And then I got my first set of like 7 kills almost immediately with the knife, because I went down and I killed all the Deus Ex that was down in the ravine. And there were all the guys were saying, you're not going to knife me, I'm going to shoot you. I was like, okay, bro. And then that was the other thing too. I think moving forward, that ravine, that bowl that's behind the airstrip, should just be taken out of any other location. Just take it out. It's too steep.
Why?
This is the slope that goes down into the proper, like the really treacherous part of the ravine.
Yeah.
That shed down there.
Well, no. That was out of play. I'm talking about just to the south of it.
Yeah. So that's sort of a.
Yeah, it's a steep grade down, especially like the last 3 years we've had nothing but weather when it comes down to this. That was like, I went down there because the sample was not supposed to be in that ravine area.
Right.
Or like, so I went down there to talk to him, and then I have my boots on, and I'm like, I am slipping and sliding.
Oh yeah,
going down. I was
it's a great cut through point from going point A to point B on the eastern side, but my only issue with it is it's a radio dead zone.
It's also getting more and more treacherous, and we took out underneath the power lines all the way down. You can't go through there. It's been taped off. So there's no more of a cut through. And if we have similar numbers to next year, I think everything was fine. The only thing that really threw off movement from Airfield over to like Tippman Town was how much more stuff was taped off this time than last year. You know what I mean? Like, he had taped off more of his the chrono area stuff. You know what I mean? He's got all that stuff out there, but then he had taped off more areas. So it's like, bro, we only have one, maybe 50 yard wide.
Oh, from the chrono over to the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had all this, and there's none of this on Tim. It's just a matter of just addressing like movement issues.
Yeah, I gotta ask him about that, because I didn't ask for that area to be cordoned off.
I don't think he wants people walking through the stuff for his chrono, which is fine.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
he went further out though.
Too much of it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Bottleneck that doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't ask for that extra beyond that so I'll have to find out why that was the case and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, because that bottleneck was pretty extensive, and there could have been a firefight to get out of it. I'm sure that, but the problem that comes up with the way the new mechanic is, for getting the flags. If somebody has that one flag there's no getting out from the airfield without dead ragging to another location. Okay. That was like the only real issue that came up with it. So, but other than that, I mean, after we got all the samples, we went head hunting, and that was a lot of fun, because there was definitely some things going through. Now, the one thing, excuse me, my throat's still messed up.
Oh, okay.
We had guys that were like, they would hide behind cover, and then I said, if you don't move, I'm going to stab you. And one guy goes, no, you're not. And I just went, you're dead.
So my understanding is black and tan won. How many stamps did you get?
We got a total of 18. We also had the most stamps per.
Well, I usually count unique. So how many?
So the most unique is 6. So they actually they were tied with greens for them, but they had all 3 we had 3 sample collectors this year because of the smaller numbers overall.
Right.
So 3 sample collectors, all 3 of them had 6.
Oh, good. Okay.
Whereas Greens only had 1 of theirs that had 6. The other
Okay,
2
so it was a tie in unique, but because they actually had more physical, that's a good tiebreaker. I like that. All right.
And one of the things I'm toying with, and we can talk about this later, is that maybe we do reduce the number of players, because this year was really great in terms of the kind of amount of field area and the amount of players, like around 500 players with the way the field is configured and the CCPs. It really allowed for a lot more movement and maneuver, strategic and tactical. Of course, with a caveat of the way that they were configured and the difficulties that Black and Tan did to get out of their current starting position. But
well, like I said, I do have some pretty major ideas to discuss to see, maybe revamping some ideas would actually change gameplay a little bit. So obviously we'll talk about it. But yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, it was on a whole, like when it started like severely pouring, that's when I was going to call in a Moondog and be like, "Hey, Moondog, it's getting treacherous out here. You want to call it?" And I was just like, "I don't want to because I want to kill COs." I was sitting there going through because we're at that point we're actively hunting Deus Ex. They were over in Fort War. We just took Skull Tower. I was like, "We're finding Deus Ex. We're going to kill him." And then that's when the call came out. The rain's getting kind of bad. Do we want to call it? And then just as that happened, I slipped. And I took 5 steps forward. I turned around. I was like, nobody saw that. I was like, it's getting kind of treacherous out here. Do you want to give it 15 more minutes and we can call it? And then we were waiting for Green to respond back. I guess the only team that really had a problem was Green because they felt spawn trapped.
At that point?
At that location? It was just before. It was like 20 minutes before that because we were CO hunting, so we were going to that back. They were in the back corner at the north end of Pines. Pines.
Okay, yeah.
And Deus Ex had them surrounded, and they weren't letting them out. So
because they were trying to go after their CO.
Yeah, and then we were coming up from behind, and it's like, man, I can't use the information I just got from the admin channels. I really want to go in there and just murder everybody and then take the CO stamps. But then they asked, can we please dead rag someplace else? I was like, yeah, I mean, we had to do it. And, I can understand the level and the frustration. They had 3 respawns in a row where they just got murked real fast. But then Deus Ex didn't go for the CO, so.
Weird, statistically, over the last few years, Green's Army is actually the team that I've dead ragged to different locations of the field more than anybody else. I wonder why that is.
Hold on. It's only 2 teams got dead ragged this year.
No, but my point is, you let them dead rag out. I think I moved them at least once or twice last year. I've definitely moved them a couple times because they were spawn trapped in other years. Yeah, Green's Army always gets bogged down in something. It's weird.
And for being one of the larger teams.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You think that they could fight their way out of it.
So I wonder what that is. Interestingly, just looking at the history of it, we're getting a lot more turnover. So it's sadly for the Marxist fans, the winners have been rotating consistently in the last 3 events.
Well, we took the win this year. Deus Ex won last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Only because you have, because somebody mentioned it on Saturday or Sunday or Friday, one of the days before.
One of the 3 days.
One of the 3 days. I think it was Friday that they mentioned. Well, last year because when Cordell and I agreed to merge, he goes, somebody came up and they go, well, last year wasn't you the one that said that you didn't want to take the win? I was like, I can't be the person that sits there and says a definitive yes or no, right? It can't fall on me like that. I have a channel. I don't want favoritism. I'd rather take the loss. What the hell?
we can hear you.
No, I know. It said in my ear. It said auto shutdown initiated. I was like, "Why are you shutting down, you piece of crap?" But yeah, it was just like one of those things. It's like last year's little fiasco. I wasn't going to have the issue with it, right? I wasn't going to be the one that gets blamed by an entire side. Oh, you just stole the win for your side. Now, if it was like, say I was on green and it was Deus Ex versus Marxist, I probably would have given it to Marxist, but is what it is, and I just stayed out of it. It's like you make that decision.
And we did,
yeah,
heard about it, but I'd like to think that everybody that we choose to, help us with this event is a professional in what they're doing. And if you can't accept the decision that basically all 20 of us at the time made, well, I mean, I tell this story about my mother-in-law. It's not about her, but like we use her as an example. If you wake up and you go about your day and you deal with an asshole here or there, they're assholes. If you go about your day and everybody you deal with is an asshole, maybe it's not them.
Yeah, Mark.
Everybody's not an asshole in my world, though. There's a few.
Just you.
There's a couple.
Yeah. So if you're gonna choose to take on our invitation to work staff, if you can't accept the decision that we've laid down and even in committee discussed, maybe it's not for you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's definitely that. The biggest thing is when you're in leadership, you have to have the ability to understand that you're not there to win the game, and that sometimes you have to lose in order to make sure the integrity of the game is kept up. Let me.
Yeah, we've all been pretty good about, and I have to applaud you, Joker, for because I knew that you wanted to be perceived to be more fair than you had to be, so that's I do appreciate that. Now for on Saturday, actually I should point out to you, Ian, the 6 stamps are actually 5 actual stamps, but they won a virtual stamp from the night game. So
wait, why was there 5 stamps and not 4 stamps?
Because everybody has their own CO stamp.
Right. So four samples.
So they got. I should say that
CO stamps.
So they got 5 stamps plus they got a bonus stamp. So when I counted the 6.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you did not get 1 CO, is what you're telling me.
I don't. You know what? I wasn't sure which, because that's the other thing. I didn't track as to which of the stamps were actually collected versus COs. I don't know if they got a CO stamp. One of the other difficulties with the rain and everything, it kind of made the stamps kind of hard to tell which one was which. Yeah. I could tell by the colors, but some of the way I designed the stamps to be different shapes too. But yeah, the chips kind of melted.
I've dealt with that on super hot ones where I get a bunch of stamps that just came out of somebody's pocket. I'm like, no thank you.
Well, there is that famous one where I got sent. He goes, "Why is it all sweaty?" That in itself was like kind of hilarious. It's like, so this time it's like our samples were 2 of our 3 sample collectors had them dry, right? With the pockets they had them in. The third guy, that's the one that I showed you, was like, it is welded shut. and then I took them from them and I walked them up front. And I was like, I probably should have had them keep them in their pockets because this is getting wet.
Ziploc bag.
Yeah, it was kind of freaking hilarious. So it was when that rain really started coming down, it's like, okay, so it got called early, right? And when it got called early, technically all 4 COs, because I was leading to Marxist. But all the COs were on the field. There was only 3 there's only 3 COs though. So we know where Deuce X was. We knew where Green was, and the black shirt CO was still on the field. So nobody left early. Now a lot of people did leave the field, but at the end of the day, we still had 50 plus strong for black shirts and Marxists together. Deuce X had like 80 or 90 people still on the field.
You could have kept going.
The biggest issue, and I think Moondog's going to agree with me, the field was just getting treacherous. People are
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, because a lot of things I'm reading, everybody walked off, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, that's not the case. Like, if weather...
About half overall
if weather
players
was still permissible, you had a game still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was there were even if half the players did walk off, but I'm saying, it's to your point, even if half the players did walk off for whatever reason, that could happen with hot weather as well as rain.
But with all the COs on the field, you still had a viable game.
Yeah,
we did, and that game was going strong. The only thing you have to look at, and that's what a lot of people just don't understand, is like, when you're dealing with a strictly outdoor AO like EMR, right? You have to look at player safety, and not to knock EMR at all, but EMR has elevation. The structures do get slippery because of the paint. In fact, wasn't there like one
tribal
injury?
slip? Yeah. I don't know if it wasn't a serious injury, but of the tribals slipped.
Mark knows exactly where this is. There's that gangplank on the south side of the fort that is it's a slip and slide. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's when it boils down to it, it's like, the reality is the worst thing that could possibly happen when we're doing events is to have an insurance claim happen.
Yeah.
Because at that point we know that the AO is getting dangerous because of the rain. We are now going to lose our insurance protection because now we're going to be negligent so people can play on the field. It just doesn't. I mean, nobody likes to hear, people being. I just realized how bad my collar was. We don't need nobody.
Still bad. Not better. It's not good. It's still bad.
I know. I saw it. I can't figure out which side it is.
Your left side.
Yeah. We have to make sure everybody's safe, and even then. One of the greatest things about the game is I didn't hear once from anybody on black shirts or Marxists. I didn't hear a single person call your hits.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a very excellent point.
The only time things got heated was when the CPs got shot, and it was an honest misunderstanding. And then the subsequent right after that is when they decided to walk. Not in the direction you were supposed to go, but walk over to an area where they can be shot, and they got shot. It's like it's on a whole. The vibe was like probably one of the least confrontational Bad Bloods that we've had since I've been going.
That's great.
Like that, at least that's how I feel. There was hardly any screaming, hardly any yelling. Mostly everybody.
I saw that was because I got to see more of the field than you did. From all the different factions. Every time I stuck around with them, I didn't have to deal with somebody pawing me over. Like, he's not calling their hits. So everybody played really well and fairly.
Yeah. And that's ultimately what we want, right? We want everybody to have a good time out there because ultimately we're all out here out in the woods playing dressed up like toy soldiers with our toy guns, shooting each other with plastic BBs. Or in my case, I'm stabbing people with a plastic knife.
Or a radio antenna.
Or a radio antenna. Oh, God, I wish I had that on camera because that would have been the funniest thing possible. Is showing at us like, Now, I know one of the tribals that was in that area had his camera on because I had to come down the hill and I was like, is there a sample over here, guys? Are you moving the sample? Because we're not supposed to have the sample be moved. Because I know you had a few new tribals this year, right? I just want to make sure nobody was moving that sample box.
Right? No, they were clear about that. That's why I was one time it was a concern that the sample been moved. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were. It was just because of where the tribals were at around that one respawn point, and then all those tribals moved. Had to been 150 yards all the way back. I was like, where the hell is this sample? But on a whole, it's like I enjoyed the aspect of the gameplay, and the players out there really, really, really seemed to have a good time. Those few that were complaining, I can understand people that get pissed off when their gun goes down.
Yeah.
Shit happens,
Yeah.
right? There's also the reason why I did not bring my AAG. That's why I was like, you know what? It's starting to rain. I'm going to put my gun away. I could carry a knife. I'm good with this.
You know, for someone who's played multiple rain games, I've never had a problem with an AEG in the rain.
So,
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I've never had a problem.
Gate Titans can have an issue. There's a famous video that I have for my Gate Titan during North vs. South 1 when the skies opened up, and it was a night game, and all of a sudden my gun just goes full auto and does not shut off until I disengage the battery.
Oh,
the water got water got.
Well, that sounds like a bad seal on your gate, but that's just me.
Yeah, but it happens. But it was shut up, Wiener.
Now, when it comes to the people complaining about, you know, the rain and walk off and stuff like that, and on one hand, like I said, rain games are fun. Suck it up and deal with it. But like you said, the big thing is, especially with me not being there, there was only 2 actual red shirt admins on the field. You had Moondog and Phil, right?
Yeah, Vimo.
So and with radio starting to foul up, God forbid something happens, we don't know. So we have no choice at that point because we can't effectively maintain safety. So there's no choice at that point. I get it. You know, if it was a smaller game, a little more like self-policing, then, you know, whatever, you kind of deal with it. But it's not like that. You know, we have to have some kind of communication at all times, you know.
Need a beer.
And that's exactly the thing. It's like, come on, guys, you know, you're gonna sit there and go through and I see you there, Grackles. I really do. Like it's one of those things of just you want to explode and be like, are you effing kidding me? But at the same time, it's like, look, I get it, you didn't have a good time, but for $60, you had the potential to play 3 days a game. Now, if you went home because your stuff got damaged or whatever, it's like, can you really blame the site for the wind and all that taking your stuff, you know, or the rain and all that stuff? You really can't. It's like there's not much we can do with an outdoor game. Like, it'll be great if we could get in a location that is, you know, 1 million square feet all indoors. We don't have to worry about the weather. Not going to really happen anytime soon, guys. You know,
whatever happened to GamePod?
Oh, it's still there. They do have a ton of room, but none of it is air conditioned. So I've been there in the summer, and this is, even though it's in Northern California, that part of Northern California, it easily gets into the hundreds. It's at the edge of the Central Valley. So yeah, it is not a fun time inside of there. In this, essentially was the former Corning factory glass warehouse. So it's
So let's. This is actually really good. No one heard of wet weather gear. You know that people, if you've been to the last 3 Bad Bloods, you'd be smart enough to bring some sort of wet weather gear. Know what my wet weather gear was? I just put my shit inside the thing and I run around with a knife. That's it. That's all I do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's my wet weather gear. But I know that if they're going out to a location, that there's a possibility rain's going to be at this event, especially the time of year we have it. Yeah. I really don't know what to tell you. I mean, and people are complaining about the price of hotel rooms. That country inn that I was at, the Colonial Inn, was only $60 a night, and they had like 60 rooms still available.
So that's surprising because I stayed there. No, I think they haven't raised their prices, so that's really good. But I totally understand. I get it from everybody else who's going to play, because I had to pay more, almost 50% more than I did last year. for my hotel and for gas, and and if you've had and I'm sure you understand it wasn't the field, it wasn't the game's fault, but if you had a terrible trip, took you 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to drive out there, and you get all of your gear that you camped out with, it's just soaking wet, and the game was called off early because it was pouring. And Ian, I should point out that, because just the context of it, when I called it, when I pulled all the COs at about 2:15, saying, "Do you want to keep on going?" And I was waiting for everybody, because I was fine with going, but then I couldn't hear some of the folks getting back to me.
Sure.
And we eventually get and said, guys, how do you feel? And they said, and everybody actually, when I finally got a hold of everybody, and I had to go through some of the embeds to get their radios to talk to the COs, everybody said, yeah, we should call it. It was it was still coming down bad enough that when we had to delay the start of the raffle.
Yeah, that's what Phil and Cardell told me. The raffle was at what, 6?
6, yeah, just because it just didn't stop raining. It stopped raining about I'd say about 5-ish for a bit, and then it actually started coming back. We actually still had the raffle in the rain, because the rain started coming back after 5. So, but we couldn't call the raffle on early at the regular time again, because I was worried that people had left to go dry out,
Sure.
or
makes sense.
and
So
we get pissed that they missed the raffle. So we could have started at 5 o'clock, because it was actually drier than 5 than 6 o'clock. But
yeah, it was. Let's talk about the raffle for a second.
What and the how many? Okay, normally we only.
I heard about that.
Normally we only give the one ticket to every player, but because this year, I decided that what because of the lower numbers will allow the charity. I gave the charity 200 tickets, and said, okay, if anybody wants to donate to the charity can give you a ticket, an extra ticket. So folks started donating. It was donating. We didn't see any of it. It goes directly to the charity. So the charity raised $1,400 that day. So that was awesome. So, but some of the folks got rolls of tickets. But to be fair, though, I spent
$420.
So there you go. No, but to keep it even fair, all of the donation AEGs and prizes that were given by Jackal, by ZKT, and from
Buck giveaway too,
and Buck, and from Joker, we gave those out before, just to the numbers that were for everybody else. So you didn't have to buy extra tickets. It was the latter half of the last, I think, 6 or 7 AEGs that Evic had in the raffle that were open to everybody who also bought extra tickets.
So yeah, so I won 6 times. I won 3 rifles, and I won 3 Odins. 2 Odins went flying back into the crowd, and when I mean by flying, one went flying and just landed in Doc's hands. I gave 1 rifle to a kid. The other 2 are going to be raffled off, and all that. So it really was. It was a good time. So
it was a great time. Hey guys, I gotta have a hard stop on this. So
yeah, I do have Grackles here in the green room to do her apology, if that's all right. Do you want to be on here for that?
Yes.
Okay.
So just to preface, there was an incident that happened in the zombie game, and the player who was the victim in this grenade kill was very, very upset and very angry, and understandably did not want to talk to the person who initiated this. But the person was very sorry and wanted to apologize. I don't know which tribal player that was the victim in this. So this is who we're having come up right now. I mean, sorry, the perpetrator of the incident.
Grackles, are you there?
Yep. Moondog making it sound like I've been cuffed and thrown away.
You're a disembodied voice in the
yeah.
Where'd he go?
Moondog said he had a hard stop.
Are you
There, because I think Moondog's coming through. All right, Grackles. The floor is yours.
Can you guys still hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Oh yeah. Hey, Grackles.
Can you hear us?
Oh, maybe not. Crackles.
Okay. First off, I'm just going to lead off with I'm an idiot. If you've met me, I am. But in regards to the incident, I feel terrible about it. I didn't consider the possible outcomes before doing it. And I didn't think. I just did, and because of that, something happened that should have never happened. I want to ensure the community that such an action will never happen from me again. And I hope that the tribal player who was involved is okay. From what I saw, there were no injuries, but I would like to extend an offer to them. If there is any damage whatsoever to their equipment from my actions, I will replace said damaged equipment.
Oh, damn. That's out, Kadaver. Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. Throwing that was a tag in AFG 6, right? That you.
Let me go check my rigging.
I'm pretty sure it's a tag. It was a tag in. And I'm pretty sure it was an AFG 6. We bought it at Jackal.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut Grackles off for a second. I was on the phone. Was it just a close contact grenade?
No, he put it in a dump pouch, thinking it was funny, and it blew up into person's dump pouch, and it was not funny. If it was maybe an EG67, it probably would not have been nearly as bad as an AFG 6. Because those things pack a hell of a lot. Oh, it's an AFG 4. Even still, those pack a punch.
Still, yeah.
And they could certainly blow apart a dump pouch and make your ass feel a little sore, especially if it's sitting right up against it. Whereas an EG67 would just be as simple as pop.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
They still hurt.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't worry, Wiener. We're gonna find out real soon.
Well, that's very kind of you to be willing to replace any damaged gear. That's good.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that tribal player is watching, listening, please reach out to me or Moondog, and we'll make this right.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think about it. I just did, and I didn't have any answers. He asked at one point, "Why would you do that?" And I couldn't put words together to try and say this sooner, but probably best I didn't, because from what I was gathering from Moondog and others, he was quite upset, and he even said to me at one point, I want to hit you. And it's like, totally get it. It'd be within your right to do so. And if he had, I wouldn't have said anything about it. Just, all right, I deserve that. Because I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better. At all the events I've ever moderated or, helped with for Joker's events, first thing I'm always after whenever something happens is, are you okay? Are you hurt? What's that? And I'm really embarrassed that I didn't think about the possible outcomes before doing this. It's full on my part. I could have really hurt him, and I'm thankful that he wasn't hurt to the best of my knowledge. I'm just kind of sad that I ruined his event, and I hope it doesn't taint him from coming back to, Bad Blood next year or any other event. I I hope I haven't ruined the sport for him. As I said, I'm an idiot. I messed up big time, and the only thing I can do now is apologize and extend the offer to replace any gear that was damaged.
And that's fair enough. All right, Crackles. Well, I'll end this. I'll put you out of your misery here. So we'll go ahead and end that apology. Hopefully, it gets back to the guy. He reaches out and all that. Realize that you just were trying to, make a joke and not really doing anything malicious. So,
thank you for accepting the responsibility and being professional about it.
Hey, that's all I can do in this situation is just try and be a big person and own my mistake and try and make it right. So, hopefully they reach out, even if it's just to say, we cool, great. If not, totally understand. I'd be upset too. But yeah, if there is any damage, I hope they reach out and I'll see what I can do about getting them replacements.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
Later,
All right.
girls.
all right. Okay. So with that being said, I mean,
Way to bring us down there, Joker. Jeez.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Depressed now.
He wanted to go through. She wanted to apologize and everything else, so that got done. And
yeah, that's great. It's a shame that it happened, but it's great that they're willing to step up and say, "Hey, I made a mistake and I want to make it right." That's great.
And sometimes when people make these things, they see something funny on there, and it's like, oh, I'll just do it right here. Oops.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, I see the funny. I see the opportunity for the funny there until you realize how powerful those things really are. And like, it's too late by that point. You're like, oh shit. But yeah, it happens.
Yeah, sometimes it's like the AFG4s in particular. Like if it's an EG67, I mean, I've had them blow up in my dump pouch before because I booby trap myself when I'm Nikolai. And
I'm also assuming, I'm going to assume that this tribal, even though there was possibility for injury, was probably more scared than anything else. So the first thing you're going to do is just kind of get a little freaky. You know what I mean?
Is this tag and 6-boom vest acceptable for a yellow dog?
That's your call. It's your channel.
Is that K DeVere? Yeah.
Yeah, it's K DeVere. Yeah.
Figures.
Put a hole in a wall, do something like that.
What's going on out there?
Hurricane.
Hurricane mom in the kitchen, man. Holy crap. But look, it's like, would I drop an EG67 inside a Wiener's dump pouch?
Yes,
absolutely.
100%.
I would.
Yep.
Would I do it to a stranger? No. And that was where the mistake happens. Did I have somebody drop an EG into my dump pouch before? I have, and it exploded on my ass before.
Cardello had a Thunder Bee go off in his pocket once, and it ripped his pants to shreds.
Yeah, I was
at
a event.
That was just a Thunder Bee,
in my dump pouch full of baby powder, and it went off in my dump pouch. White cloud comes up over my head.
Or like Bad Blood, I think it was last year maybe. There was a guy that somebody threw a tag in, and it went right underneath the guy's butt and exploded. And I call it the Ass Blaster 3000.
Oh God!
I was like, "Ooh, watch out!" And he's just like, "Oh!" Drop one of the Porto John vent. Trust me, interesting. No, we're not going to do that.
No, we're not
wasn't the guy? We were at the event where the guy got stuck.
Yes,
right there, and it blew up right beside his head. Like it was tossed. It wasn't like anything malicious.
It tossed, it skipped, and it just got
skipped
caught
across
right,
and caught the guy right in the
right here. It got stuck right by his
on his face shield.
On his face shield ear pro, and exploded right there.
And that was probably before the redesign, so those things were brutal.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And there was so many people who witnessed it. We just saw it. I mean, it's on video. It's a video somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is, but I have it. Bad Boom is what I think I called it.
Call it Bad Boom. Yeah. Yep. He was okay, but he was on the ground for a little while.
I don't know. Kyle asked
Mark's batteries are stolen, so you ain't getting anything from Mark.
I know that dude. That sucks so
bad. I'll remind you of that every time.
There was such great moments during the game. It wasn't funny. I don't know if I know that they had a couple of people out there with recording.
If Evic does put out a video, it's usually about 6 months later, and they'll call it "This is Airsoft 2024." So just keep a lookout for that. If they had a videographer out there, granted, because I wasn't there, so I don't know. But yeah, usually it's about 4 to 6 months, and they'll call it "This is Airsoft."
And I mean, like I said, on a whole, like if you guys are upset about the weather, shit happens. So there's not much we can do about it. If you're upset with that, I won 6 items. Next time, buy raffle tickets. I donated everything, and all those 3 guns are not even going into my collection. They're going to be re-raffled off at future events.
Oh, so you won raffles?
Oh yeah, dude! I paid $420 in those raffle tickets.
Oh, that's fine. You deserve it. That's fine. But I was on the phone when you guys were talking about that. So good for you.
Yeah. When they had the extras, I was like, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to go spend some money. I won 3 rifles and 3 Odins. I tossed.
You could have paid for my plane ticket up. I could have gone that weekend with that $400.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have got anything in return except a whole lot of ass chewing. Yeah, that'd be an annoyance.
You got to pay extra for that kind of action.
But the way I looked at it was, I was like, all right, there's a high probability I'm going to win 1, if not 2 rifles. And I was also doing the math on what we can get from our thing, because every raffle that we do goes towards Damien's gene therapy.
Right.
And there's a new gene therapy medication that just came out that he could get into, that he's got to do all his testing and all that. But if he gets approved for the testing, it's a 1-shot, 30% muscle growth, and it costs $3 million. Our out of pocket $60,000.
Okay. So keep 1 Odin and raffle off the rest.
I did keep 1 Odin. I tossed the other 2 out into the crowd.
Okay. Right.
I was trying to make sure I did not get mobbed by the masses.
Those things are like hen's teeth sometimes, and they're worth it. So
yeah.
Yep. I own 3.
I get a rifle. I give a hawk.
I didn't know what that meant until 3 days ago.
I think it only happened within the last week, so you're not that far. You're not that far off the books.
No, it's been going on for at least 3 weeks, bro.
Not that long. Nah, it hasn't been that long.
Oh, trust me, I've been seeing Hawk for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been out there. I just didn't know what it meant. Now I do. I feel stupid.
Anytime that there's a viral video going around on TikTok now, I go and look for the original source, and I just went that's fucking hilarious, because she asked multiple questions. They asked her multiple questions.
Oh yeah, I saw the whole video.
And then she just goes, you just got to do that.
Now they got a song to it.
Yeah. But, it was funny because on Thursday, before I fly out to go to Bad Blood, Wednesday night we're traveling around, we're getting stuff done, and my daughter goes, hey, because whenever where the local pet store is, there's a funeral home, and they had a hearse for sale outside of it.
Yeah,
so we kept driving by it, and we drive by 4 or 5 times, and Ange finally turns to me, she goes, look, if you get me a hearse, I will learn to drive. If you buy the hearse, I'll learn to drive. And I was like, how much is the hearse? So we go there, meet the guy on Thursday. Before I fly out, I do the deal for the hearse. And then we picked it up yesterday. Of course, the brake lines failed when I got it home.
Is it a caddy?
It is a Cadillac hearse, yeah. It is a black Cadillac hearse. And it came with a coffin.
Oh, I mean, the rail's fine, but ew, no. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, that'd be a great way to transport stuff and just really freak out people when you pull into the parking lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it drives like a caddy, nice and smooth. But we went to go take it to the car wash place yesterday. pulled into autos to pull in because the AC's not, it needs to be recharged. And when we went to go leave, one of the metal pipes must have finally had enough of the corrosion and started spritting out brake fluid right onto the engine. So I was like, so an extra $200 later, I have all the metal brake lines coming in. So no, it's a brand new coffin. It is brand new. It's not used at all.
Slightly used. What does that even mean?
Corpse is in it until he went to get cremated.
Oh man.
But and then the next day I find out about the medication for Damien. I was like, God damn it. Because now we have to save up a lot. So when he gets this new medication, he doesn't have to take the weekly infusions anymore. So really it's like 2 years worth of his medication price in 1 year.
Well, it's totally worth it, obviously. It's just
Yeah.
a massive price tag.
Well, the biggest thing that the wife and I were talking about was 30% means that he might be able to get up and transition himself into his chair, or transition to the toilet, or transition into the shower.
That's great.
Yeah.
For his own self-esteem, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at Kidavir's comments there, and I was like, there's so much stuff I want to say, but I can't say it on the stream. That's locked in. I'll say it out loud. Let's just say he's from Long Island.
Oh, okay.
And his last name's Scarano. But yeah, it was. I had a blast. Now, unfortunately, when I woke up on Sunday, I could not play. I overexerted myself the day before. My entire left side of my body was like, "You're not running. You're not moving. You are just going to go sit your happy ass down and not do anything today." And that's exactly what I did. So yeah. So it was it really was. Bad Blood was a fun time this year. I think the lower numbers helped the gameplay out quite a bit. The only other thing that we really have to do is, like, I don't know if you got the feedback from how to have the flags move in the future.
Not yet.
My suggestion was that you can go from one point and still have the noodle effect as long as you're in a straight line to the next flag point.
I actually said that to somebody in one of the Automagic chats that one of the live streams created a while back. Was obviously I said I had to talk to Moondog about it, but like if you're in between spawns and you start taking hits, yeah, let's go to a mobile triage for that point in time.
I think it'll be better because one of the best things about this game, and I said it before and I'll say it again, is the noodles gave this game a very unique feel with how you moved around. And taking away the noodle aspect, I think, is what got a lot of people messed up in the head. Yeah. But if we still use the same sort of thing where we use the jumping points between the respawn points, I think it'll work. I think that, especially like when we had the dead rag all the way to Pines, we went a direct line to Pines. We went directly to that thing. So it's like, I didn't want to dead rag that far, but there was nothing else I could do because where everybody else was around us, it's like they have all the points close up. So might as well, let's just head out that way.
So really, the only options I foresee are either cut down the number of static spawn of flag points and allow mobile triages, or increase the amount of flag points. You know what I mean? So go from, what was there, 8, 6, 8? You go to, you want to go to 12. That way you're always within eyesight of a spawn. That kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, so I think that if the number of flag points was fine, I just think that if we have where Cordello did it a couple times, we did what we call the dangerous move because we didn't have a place to fall back to respond to. Now, we would have just been like, as admins, we're going back to the last spot we were just at as long as they didn't get taken.
Right. I agree.
But it was one of those things where And he just put the flag on his shoulders. And he was at the back of the line, and we went forward. So I think that might actually work with the same spawn points that we had, except we were going to move one because the Pines Bridge and campsite was too close together.
Close, yeah.
You needed one more towards the backside of Fort War.
And I think having one directly on that road between Tippman Town and the fort, that's got to move. That can't stay there.
He moved it back to by the shops, and that
Oh,
worked
okay.
better.
Right.
So,
Okay.
So at least then there's mobility, there's movement, and we could have the ability to not be stuck in that spot. Because the first and I always said it was like 8 respawns. I think it was more like 5 or 6. So for the first hour, we couldn't get to our first extra respawn spot because of the fighting that we were going up against.
Right.
But if we had the ability to, all right, well, we moved the triage up to 50 feet. All right, we got stopped. We moved the triage up another 50 feet. We got stopped. We moved another triage up to 50 feet. Now we just got to get to that flagpole. Essentially, you cut out some of the respawns and actually have people feel like they're progressing.
Right.
And that's what they really like. They like the movement and progression.
Yeah, that was my biggest argument when we first talked about it at the beginning of the year, was the uniqueness of the mobile triage and the ability for the game to be constantly moving. I felt that was a massive draw to the game. The idea of keeping the mobile triage in play and then having these kind of backup hard respawns more for like safety and regrouping, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for discussing it and going to a mixed system, bringing back the mobile, because it keeps you engaged, and you're not worried about, okay, well, we got to walk this 200 feet back to this flagpole, and then we've lost all this ground, and we know the sample is only another 100 feet up the way, and we got to fight for it again. Kind of takes the fight out of some people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's how I had to put my stuff down. I mean, I did so many runs on the first 40 minutes. I was like,
yeah, absolutely.
So other than that, I mean, had a good time. Mobile triage should be able to run and capture for points. It's not that style of game. I mean, Bad Blood is really meant to just be a BB dump fest of fun, low rules, and just all around. Just you get a lot of trigger time in and have a lot of fun just sitting there doing this stuff. So,
Bad Blood isn't about the kill tallies and the win. It's about just being there.
It's definitely about my knife kills.
Fine.
It's about
the knife. Fine. It's about the knife kills. That's fine. But it's not about the being the Uber operator. It's about just being out there.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, I honestly really wish I had Wiener with me, because we can't hear you, brother. Nope. There he goes again. It's Boomer and his technology. He can't hear shit.
Thing is, I'm probably older than he is.
He's gonna be 60.
Okay, never mind.
But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back next. I mean, we're gonna have it next year. All the people that are bitching and complaining about it now, like even Cordello goes, now we can hear you.
Now you can hear me?
Now
it's not through the headset though.
Well, yeah, what was Cordello saying?
Like he was saying at the start of it, this is gonna be my last Bad Blood. Then of course we do what we do, and he's like, all right, maybe it's not my last Bad Blood after all.
Yeah, I thanked him for his giving it his all for his last Bad Blood. And he says, yeah, about that. I think I'll be back. I was like, yeah, you will.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. So, with that being said, guys, it's an hour and a half.
Shriveled up and everything.
I think it's a good ending point. We had a great time. Everybody did their apologies. Ian, I did my deepest condolences about your father, man. I'm really sorry.
Thank you very much.
I know how you feel.
It's never easy losing a loved one. So, but with that being said, Bad Blood was a blast. Can't wait for the next one. Can't wait for the good times. Anybody else? Ian, you got any final thoughts?
I mean, the producer in me literally started writing notes the minute I started getting phone calls that the game was over. So yeah, I got plenty of ideas, none of which I'm going to share just yet. Really, I just want to thank everybody for giving it their all and putting in so much hard work and so much time over the last 6 months to really make this game what it is. And yeah, thank you for everybody who reached out to me, everything that's going on with me, and just being supportive and taking over my responsibilities that I do take very seriously for this game, and just making sure everything just went off as best it could with the situation you were given. So, thank you to everybody who came, everybody who worked, and everybody who won raffle shit and just had a great time.
I won a lot of raffle shit. I had a great time just for that. I want to thank all the staff and everybody that came out. That the people, Chrono, Sin, Smurf, Vendetta, Chomps, Buck. I'm trying to remember all the names, but there's a lot of people that came out there that made this go off. Thank EMR and Timmy for having us out there again.
Yeah, EMR is a great friend to us, and we're gonna make sure it stays that way. Thanks to Evic for sponsoring the event the way they do. Yeah,
and
a lot goes into this.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, you have 3 producers right here on the stream, and we all know how bad it can be. When you guys are dealing with player expectations and weather and all the other fun stuff. But with that being said, unfortunately, it's that time. It is the time to say goodbye. So, Weeder, do you have any final thoughts? Wait.
Any final thoughts? No, I'm just wearing
comments?
my gear and stuff for my event coming up the end of October for Operation Backyard, JW Barbecue Crew. So it should help you out.
I was wondering where the hell that came from.
You like that? Huh?
And I was going to ask you about it.
That's my son-in-law's. My son-in-law's barbecue crew. So he gave me the hat and the shirt, and I got a long sleeve shirt too. And they actually kicked butt. I was trying to get him to come over and be a judge, but unfortunately, he'll be on a Disney cruise that weekend. Yep.
Anyways, with all that being said, that's our show for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I am Joker for Players One. With me is Mr. Ian Sonic from New York City Airsoft, and it's not a party till he comes out. Wiener from New Breed Airsoft. Until next time, may your BBs fly true and your opponents always call your hits. Good night.
Squirrel!